Hanging on the back of your door.
Okay.
I'm like. It was hanging on the back of your door.
I know. Phone probably says 5 o'clock, even though that doesn't say 5 is there, right?
Oh,
Okay.
my phone says.
I need another X on my notes.
Oh, yeah.
On the side?
I know.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah,
Or maybe two X's.
yeah, yeah.
Two's always
Are
better.
you an X
Yeah,
guy?
good stuff.
Okay, so I just need
I
one.
was being very.
One more.
One more.
This one.
No, it's really good.
Fran, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
Alright.
we're gonna get started, you guys. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. We're gonna call the city council regular meeting to order Thursday, March 21st, 2024. Please rise. We'll do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Pastor Campbell, welcome.
Father, thank you so much for allowing us to be in this wonderful community. Lord, we pray for our city leaders that you will give them wisdom and discernment. We thank you for the knowledge and wisdom that you have already given them. I pray that they would use that wisely to administer to our community. Lord, we love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 3 is citizen comments and reports, and I do have several people signed up to speak. For those of you, it looks like we have some new faces in the crowd. So for those of you who have never signed up, citizen comments here, you come to the podium, you state your name, your address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak, and you'll be on the timer, so you'll know when the 3 minutes is, okay? So we'll start with David Lee.
City Council, my name is David Lee. I actually live at 502 Pocket Farm Road in the Taft farmlands north of Aransas. I'm in Aransas County. I am a guide. I'm a professional guide, moved down to the area to make my living guiding now. We have an issue down here at the ramp. Y'all have implemented something that keeps me from launching my offshore boat. I can't put it in the water and pick up my clients within a 20-minute factor. I will get a ticket every time I put in the water. Been doing it for 20 years. This is a problem now. Y'all just started enforcing this ordinance. And to my understanding, we've had several of our CDGA guides or Coastal Bend guides receive citations. I also understand that y'all have a permit in your possession for 30 years to pull the trigger for a new marina. Please get it done. It's growing. Y'all are obviously growing by leaps and bounds. There's no way that guides can come over and do what we need to do safely. We don't want any accidents. We don't want any problems. But if we have to rush in and get somebody, rush out of here, we're going to have a problem. Doesn't fall on y'all, it's going to fall on us. So we really need help with y'all paying attention to what our needs are too. I don't know exactly who pulled this trigger and who didn't give any warning. We've got 2 organizations, CCA, CBGA. Nobody came to us and said that we're going to start writing tickets the day we throw our signs up and start enforcing this 11 years down the road. Any answers from y'all?
Unfortunately, during citizen comments, we cannot
You don't answer?
respond.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah.
I'm sorry. And not that we're not listening, but
But
we
you'll
can't
respond, right?
have, right. We can't
Okay.
have interaction. So anytime you have citizen comment time, if there's obviously something you want to wish to talk to staff about, you can come at a different time, but this period is
Okay.
just for comments.
Well, that is
Yeah.
kind of mine. I just think that we need to, somebody needs to do something about the professional guys that are down here coming into your area, bring our clients down here to spend money, stay in Port A, call us and go fishing, but they're spending money eating and drinking and staying with y'all. Obviously, there's a lot of tax money and city money comes in that way. So I think that we need to either get together and have a different meeting at some point or invite y'all to come to the CBGA meeting on a Tuesday and discuss this with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
All right. Next is Kenny Kramer.
My name is Kenny Kramer. I live at 1302 West Young in Aransas Pass. Guide as well. The 20-minute deal at the ramp, I see to cause safety issues with by the time the customers get there, rushing them on the boat, getting life jackets on. Maybe do it 30 minutes. Give us another 10 minutes, just for safety, because if something happens because we're rushed, we're going to jail, not anybody else. And it's gonna clog the docks over at Deep Sea, Fisherman's Wharf rumors has it they don't want bay boats down there. They want the big boats for fuel. Y'all have a permit in place to build something. Port Aransas is growing. Y'all have lots of money. Get it done, you know? Somebody said, pull the trigger a while ago. If you need help, I bring you some shells. So, yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kramer. Okay, next is Shandy Williams.
Can I have 5 minutes?
3 minutes, sorry. We gotta be fair.
My
'cause
name
there's
is
other
Shandy
people.
Williams. I'm the owner of Getting Salty Water Sports. I live at 2513 Fannin Avenue. Let me go ahead and tell you, my first business that provides for all of this entertainment is a safety company, a very successful one in Oilfield, Texas. When we're rushing, we're making mistakes. When we make mistakes, that jeopardizes safety. Number one, you guys jeopardize everyone's safety, not just the safety on the dock, but our police officers were pulled off of an incredibly busy spring break to come and write tickets by means I never got one single ticket. I sat here a year and a half ago when you implemented this ordinance in place for a time period. And I stood against it and told you this was going to cause accidents. There was going to be things that would happen. That's not enough time for anybody. I expected me to be affected more than the guides. The guides are the ones who got the tickets. I ran 65 rides in 4 days. I was doing my training on the water. I have generally 7 to 10 marina flips a season. My seasons run from generally end of February to end of October. I had 5 that day. When you have jet skis flipping over in the marina because you aren't able to verse these customers on how to safely maneuver a jet ski, I'm backing up the traffic. Now let's fast forward. We no longer have fuel at Deep Sea headquarters. I do not have time to haul down 10 jet skis. By the way, guys, when I saw you last, I had 15 jet skis. I told you I was growing. I'm at 22. I've now partnered with Sea-Doo and BRP, who has come to me, and I will have 12 more jet skis by the end of this next month. That's 34 jet skis in the marina. There's a need for it. I want to do this as safely as possible. That's going to protect the community from any damages. Every one of our jet skis go out with a guide for a reason. Y'all are forcing our hand on this. Had I got tickets on Sunday when we were literally it was our off day, you would have had $7,000 in your city pocket from mine. I didn't even do $7,000 in rentals that day. Okay, we need to start doing the math. You have pulled your city professionals off of monitoring whatever it may be. There was evidently a gas spill. The GLO was here. They're down there writing down every single one of my jet skis and their number and sitting there having to time them. They're writing down every one of these guides, sitting there timing them. And that's what we're going to waste the city money on. That's what I'm coming over here paying taxes for. All of my money on Getting Salty is spent in Port Aransas. We don't spend it in Rockport. We don't spend it in San Antonio. We spend it in Port Aransas. I bank here and I spend it here. So I'm going to ask you guys that y'all really consider, one, that y'all move me out of the way. At 34 jet skis, I'm a problem at that boat ramp. Without me being able to fuel now, I'm having to pull all of my jet skis out of the water until Deep Sea headquarters gets up and going. That's where we've always fueled. Deep Sea headquarters or Fisherman
Shannon,
Wharf.
let's wrap it up, okay?
So I'm going to ask that y'all move me down to a transit slip. I have slips here. I have a boatman slip and I also have one at the Virginias on the Bay. I asked y'all this last time. Move me to a transit slip where I'm out of the way. I'm out of these guys' way. I'm out of the community way. It's in your court.
You say your address. Where's your address?
2513 Fannin Avenue, Midland, Texas.
I got it on the card. I can't look at it. All right, Steve DeWitt, you're next.
Good evening. Steve DeWitt, 487 Mustang Boulevard here in Port Aransas. I just want to briefly speak a little bit about spring break and see if we can come up with some answers possibly as some of the problems we're seeing. Most of you know I run Life in Paradise Vacation Rentals and we're approaching 600 rentals in town. And this spring break was a little different. I don't think we saw a ton more problems, but I think we've transitioned to being the teenage spot for Texas. I see on Facebook talk about college age kids for spring break. And it just appears to me by when I knock on the door and ask for the person that rented the property, I got 18, 19-year-olds more than I've got 23, 24-year-olds. And we're running into this, I'm going to call it the cool parent. It is getting to be a real problem. And last year we saw it. This year, I threw out a couple of people, even the parent was there, and they were breaking the law. Bottom line, they were having parties. Those weren't all their kids. There was alcohol involved. They were underage. One place, the parent was allowed them to smoke marijuana. So there's some things going on. And when we see mile marker 32 becoming a trending hashtag, it was that way last year. This year, it was even more so. It's a great place to go find where the parties are at, because you go follow that group, you can track it down. Hats off to our police department, our first responders. They've done a tremendous job. I don't know who does all the beach cleaning, but incredible when you go down there the next morning and that place is immaculate. But I think we've got to, my thought is, let's come up with a focus group, bring in some of the citizens, business owners, obviously the police department, to understand what is legal and what's not legal and what we can do, to improve the process. My fear is those headlines like we saw early in the week, we don't want a repeat of that. And we think that's going to run off the type of people that we really want here during spring break. So I'm just thinking if we could, formalize some kind of a focus group, I would volunteer. What expertise, which I don't know if I have much, but I understand the vacation rental business. I understand knocking on the door and finding nothing but kids there drinking alcohol. And I just think that we can use social media back the other way to let them know that Port Aransas is not going to tolerate some of the things that goes on.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, Daniel Mazak is next. You want to wait to the item? Yeah, that's fine. Sure, no problem. Okay, that is it. So we'll move on to the consent agenda. Council, there is a consent agenda, which includes city council meeting minutes and a resolution. Any comments or motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda, A and B.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. There is a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Fran, please call the roll.
Councilor Crawford,
Yes.
Councilor Christensen,
Yes.
Councilor Chambers,
Yes.
Councilor Krueger,
Yes.
Councilor Witten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. All right, we'll move on to item 5, which is our items for consideration. And item C is a resolution regarding Beach Access Road B1B, authorizing the vacation and abandonment of an existing city road easement for beach access from Highway 361 in exchange for another city road easement serving at the same purpose at a nearby location. Item C. David, you want to lead off?
Okay, yeah, let me give you the lead off. I'm going to zoom in real quick on the area that we're going to be discussing. So it's just south of the Cinnamon Shore North southernmost border. So there's Cinnamon Shore North, and the roadway we'll be discussing generally it's 165 feet off of the southern boundary of Cinnamon Shore North. So it sits, approximately right in that zone right there. So there's multiple documents in your packet. The first one is the resolution. The resolution, basically in a nutshell, has you guys agreeing on the following documents, which is the beach access easement agreement, the grant of easement from COATS to the city for the new 60-foot/80-foot right of way. And then the last document is the vacation and abandonment of the city's current 40-foot easement that abuts the southernmost property line of Cinnamon Shore North. If you go all the way back to the last two pages, it's Exhibit 4. And Exhibit 4 shows you a plan map of the proposed easement dedication from COs to the city. You can see it's approximately 165 feet south of the border of Cinnamon Shore North. And hatched is the 40-foot access that the city will be vacating. It also shows 3 different roadway sections, sections A, sections B, and section C. And on the following page, you can see an example of what the city cross-section will look like. There's a couple variables in there. But for the most part, you're looking at, towards the highway, you're gonna have a turn lane. So you're gonna have 3 lanes. It'll be a center turn lane that'll take you south onto the highway. It'll have a right-hand lane, a right-hand turn that'll take you back into Port A, and then it'll have a right-hand turn coming off the highway onto the beach. So it'll be 3 lanes as you come off the highway. It will then transition into a divided median with a median in the middle. Whether or not it's vegetated is to be determined. And then as you transition to the beach, if you go back to the first page on the exhibit, and if you look at the plan, you'll see how it flares out to 80 feet. So that'll get us through the problem, the dune area where we're going to have really big setbacks with our cut slope. So that'll give us the extra space needed to get through the dunes and onto the beach. The city will also commit to a water service and beach showers that are at all the city beach access roads, 1A, 1, Sandcastle, G, and Lantana. So we'll mimic that same beach shower at this beach access also. While we do already have trash toters down there, we will extend the Skidoo can service down there also. I think right now we're down to I think we have Skidoo cans to 40. Yeah, not quite. Do we hit Cinnamon Shore North yet?
No.
Yeah, so we will start to commit to moving the Skidoo can line down a little bit further too, because as we're seeing crowds down there, it definitely warrants it. I think about 4 years ago, we moved them. They used to end at Beach Access Road 1, and we extended them down past Pioneer, I think, to Mustang Royale. But now it's time that we even get that a little bit further, get that further south, if not all the way to the city limits. It's not a huge lift for the city, so we're also committing to that. The way the resolution is drafted, if you go back to the resolution. So basically in section 1 of the resolution, it references the different exhibits. So it talks about the grant of easement from COs, the vacation and abandonment on the city's part. And then it talks about in section 2, basically it says the city manager is directed to proceed with the implementation of such processes, steps, contracts as are necessary or advisable to complete the aforesaid exchange. So basically tonight, if you guys are comfortable, basically by approving the resolution, you don't have to, you're not approving everything verbatim tonight. You're basically granting me the authority to go forward and finish it. If you guys are comfortable with it, if you guys think that the beach access road easement agreement looks good, if you think that if you're happy with the roadway layout that COTS has given us, and then the vacation issue, then basically by approving the resolution, you're giving me the directive to move forward and finalize. And Daniel's here
Yeah.
from COTS,
There we
and
go.
Daniel Mazak, representative here tonight for COTS Group regarding the beach access road. So David's shared these over last week. I unfortunately wasn't available to review them in the time period before these went into your agenda packet. There's some slight variances in the exhibits and stuff from what was shared previously by Urban. We were working to get that exhibit to reflect like the things that we had discussed throughout the course of discussions with you guys over what that street looks like. So there's a few things on those particular exhibits that would be tweaked ideally before they make it to the final agreement and the easement granting and vacation. One of those is like the location of that jog where the width increases from 60 foot to 80 foot. That was supposed to be drawn where it didn't impede the location of the closest beachfront lot there. In this case, it shifted a bit too much towards the highway, and that Gulf front lot would get its corner kind of lopped off, and that wasn't part of the initial plan. So that just location needs to shift a little bit. Urban appeared fine with that, their previous conversations, and drafted exhibits that reflected that, but those somehow weren't the ones that were in the packet. So overall, we're prepared to continue to move forward with David. And now that I'm back, get the chance to review these things and, get a actual agreement and like something that's final and ready for you guys to execute. But I just wanted to share that we do expect a couple of things to change in there. The other was the divided median. We wanted 3 lanes, coming in. So there is a dedicated left turn lane, a lane in, and then a right turn lane heading to Port Aransas. As you move deeper in the community, we were actually okay not having the divided median. So your street section gets shrunk a little bit and you have a little bit more narrow path through there as you have a lane each direction. And then there's overall less pavement, more room for vegetation or berms on the sides and some stuff. So there were a few things we wanted to review and discuss a bit further before getting across the finish line. And
So
then-
those are things we can tweak after we pass
Yeah.
this resolution.
Yeah.
This isn't set in
Yeah,
stone.
yeah,
per
you don't
se.
need to
Okay.
fix it tonight.
So
That
we'll
was the
plan to
question.
review those things. The other kind of question I had or public comment on this is, does this need to be called Beach Access Road 1B? Or could we work together to give it a more interesting name? You've got some other streets that, Lantana, Sandcastle, and others that are beach accesses that are not numerically numbered names. So I just want to throw that out there.
Some of the other beach access roads are named.
Access Road 1A and.
Like Zon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in City of
that's true.
Corpus.
They can have a name and a number like some of them do. I don't know.
Fine.
Yeah, I'll
Just
circle back with council. on
something to
that.
think about.
Yeah.
We can put, yeah.
So I have a question. In
Yeah.
Section A and B, where we're putting these berms,
Yeah,
that berm is going all the way up the length until it hits the dunes, where we're putting a berm and you're putting a fence. So there are no cuts into this road.
There would be, so there would be one off of turns into Seaside Drive. So Bentgrass, when you get all the way down up near the Gulf front where the cul-de-sac is, that's Seaside Drive. There would be one on Seaside Drive up near the Gulf front. And then I think we're anticipating
like
two,
something in this area here,
a little bit closer to the beach.
like down right in here.
Yeah, a little towards the highway
Yeah.
from
So
there,
you're gonna
but
connect
between that
that.
area, there will be one connection there that'll allow in the future when the traffic light goes in, people within Cinnamon Shore to exit onto the beach access in order to use the traffic light to make a protected left or to cross the highway. And then the future development to the south, I believe we were anticipating either 2 or 3 points of connection to the beach access from that. And then to develop out the 160 feet to the north of the beach access between there and Cinnamon Shore North, we were anticipating 2 points of connection. And they'll be in line, I believe, with the 2 points on the south side.
I
I
didn't
think.
draw it like that, but
So that berm will come back down to ground level in areas and then rise back up where there's those street cuts. And the best example I have of this today is where Palmia has their back office near their like effluent tank and like stuff up by the highway there. They have berms and then they have like a concrete road coming through those. Those are larger than ours could probably be because we don't have the width to build something quite that large. But that gives a good visual kind of indication of what we were trying to accomplish with these berms on the sides of.
And does the city mow those berms, or is that something y'all are gonna take care of? Nice.
We'll cross the finish line on discussion on that. Yeah, regarding who's vegetating and all of that. I think our understanding is the city's position's
I'm
not,
just kidding.
they're not interested in doing
Okay.
it. So
Yeah.
We're not big on the, are we, Colleen?
Yeah, we're not mowing.
It's gonna be very natural.
What's it
Well,
called?
ideally, our intention isn't that they need to be mowed. We'd prefer dune vegetation
Okay.
versus
Yeah.
like.
Yeah,
dog
Right.
get like a wild,
So if we get it growing up like that, we wouldn't actually be doing anything to
Yeah.
maintain it aside from
Otherwise,
maybe.
it'll be a sandy mess in the same.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
At
Daniel,
least to start.
that picture there, so getting into A, so I'm looking at what we got in our packet and obviously C, so you're saying that the width is gonna go towards the beach, so we're losing some of that in what you were talking about, right? 'Cause,
So if we want to show maybe on, I don't know if that exhibit packet's available, but there's the line kind of goes. You've got an area where that jog is happening.
Right, that's what I'm saying, it's gonna,
Right now, that jog is drawn where if this was a Gulf front lot here and a Gulf front lot here, it would clip that corner. We were gonna move that jog to occur at the same intersection as the corner of that Gulf front lot. So you still have room to get through the dunes there and accomplish the sloping and mitigation necessary, but it doesn't modify the land plan for a future.
yeah, and the other thing we were gonna look at is we put the jog all on one side, so we put it's a 20-foot jog on one side. We might end up just doing 10 and 10 and
We would be okay
yeah,
with that.
so
In the one
to
sixty-five.
get it to 80.
Between the road and north, you're putting one lot or two lots? Or you-
Two, I believe
Beachfront.
it's two beachfront lots and two first tier lots before the little street connection from Seaside Drive to. So it'd be a total of 4 lots, I think, on that little piece there.
Were we doing sidewalks?
Yes, yeah, yeah. If you look at the,
Sidewalks.
yeah, if you look at the sections, they're in there.
Yes.
Is 5 feet enough?
Well, we could, what it says in here, it says, alternative to 2 5-foot sidewalks could be a single 8-foot hike and bike on one side,
I think we'd probably be in favor of that if y'all.
you know,
wanted to go
so
that
it really
route.
depends on how we wanna. I like the single 8-foot because it gives, you know, it makes a little bit more space for 2 people passing, especially if one of them's on a bike.
People walking
Got
with
to put those
kids or
softball
towing ice
I was gonna
chests and
say,
stuff, rather than single
Don't make it
file.
wide enough for a golf cart.
so in column A, or section A going in.
Yeah.
Would it look a lot like this, or do those sidewalks go all the way from 360?
No, I mean, that's pretty narrow right there. This,
is.
that's way narrower. It's,
But that's just the.
I mean,
look
that's
it's gonna-
barely, I bet you that's
Yeah.
not even 18 feet in that picture.
Because the sidewalks we have in here, we're obviously looking at this angle, is it running all the full length of the?
Yeah, the
would you think
sidewalks run the
it-
full length to the
full-
beach.
Okay,
Yeah.
361.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, because you'll see the sidewalks in sections A, B, and C.
Right.
I think the last item that I remember discussing with Jim that he felt would work, I don't know if he ever spoke to David about it, but we'll chat with it, I'm sure, after this, was the location where the easement ends. So whenever you're dealing with like state land, which the property runs all the way up to the mean high water line, you have to get an LSLS involved, which is a licensed state land surveyor, and that adds cost and complexity to the survey. So if y'all are amenable to it, stopping the easement, say 20 foot from the toe of the dune, that way it gets all the way out to the public beach easement, but it doesn't go all the way to the mean high water line. And he didn't feel that would be an issue, and we can consult with the city attorney and city manager as needed to discuss that. But basically, the easement may stop on the public beach rather than extending all the way to the mean high water line. If that works.
That 8-foot, if you, I got the two,
Yeah.
the 2.5 on each side, I got that common sense, but if you did an 8-foot, would to be proposed on the south side or of the new development coming up, or?
That would be to be determined, I think, is what it says. It could be, if we went with one, it would be where we thought the majority of the foot traffic is gonna be coming from.
Okay, but you got enough, whether it's
Yeah.
either side, that'd be
Yeah.
good. or 8 feet either way.
Our preference would be if you were to take the entirety of the paved section, like back of curb or street, like to edge of sidewalk, like so including your whole street and your sidewalk, and center that within the beach access. That way we're not skewed like all the streets constructed on the north or south side of the right of way. That way we can do the berm thing we're talking about. Otherwise, if we lose 8 feet on one side and gain 8 feet on the other side, that impacts, like one dune would be like tall and the other would be a small little gopher mound or something.
Come running.
Well, it sounds like we're very close, so.
Yes,
I
yeah,
think-
very, very close. I think we'll be
Yeah.
able to make a lot of headway before the next meeting, the next time we plan to discuss.
Any other questions for David or Mr. Mazak?
When do we decide about the easement where it ends and stuff?
Well,
I need to get with Jim on that and figure out, and Mike and figure out the legalities. The biggest issue would be if you ever had erosion, it wouldn't be an issue because you would always have your easement there. The biggest issue would be is if you had accretion and the beach somehow build out 50 feet, which I don't think it is in this climate, but if the beach did build out 50 feet and your easement all of a sudden got nestled back into the dune line, that would be the downside of it. If it's erosional, it's not an issue because you're eating back into the easement. The easement's just continually getting closer to the water's edge. It would be the reverse. It would be the impact. So I need to look at that a little bit more. Thanks, man.
thank you, David. All right, so are y'all, do I have a motion regarding the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Fran, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, progress. I like it. Good stuff. All right. Item D, finding that after reasonable notice and hearing that AEP Texas Inc.'s existing electric rates and charges within the city should remain in effect. Hello, Mr. King. How are you?
Mr. King's here for,
Welcome.
yes, to be punched on if you need to. We won't. We're nice here.
Thank you very much, Mayor, council members, Patrick King with AEP Texas. Just wanted to touch base and visit with you real quick on the resolution that you're gonna act on this evening. As part of a settlement agreement with the Public Utility Commission approximately 4 years ago, AEP Texas was required to file for a rate review in April of 2024. And so that is what we have done. The city of Port Aransas still has original jurisdiction over AEP's Texas rate structure, as do 274 other communities in 96 counties in AEP Texas footprint. So what we ask is so this is the first step in the process of this rate review. So we ask that all of our communities look at this information, review this document, and some of them elect to deny it. Some of them elect to suspend it. And either one of them decisions is going to take this rate review and put it in the Public Utility Commission's hands. At that point, this request there will be interveners that come in and testify. We will be scrutinized to the nth degree on the amount that we're requesting, our expenses, our expenditures, and this will all be done under the umbrella of the Public Utility Commission, who we basically report to. So in front of you today is a procedural process, really. Y'all have probably seen these with several different utilities that operate in your community over the years. And this will get this to the Public Utility Commission for their final review and determination of how this is going to end up. And the reason for that is once this is all done, we can implement a rate structure evenly throughout all of our communities and throughout all of our counties. And it's a whole lot easier to manage and take care of at that point.
Okay. Y'all understand? Any questions for Mr. King regarding the resolution or the action that we're requested to take?
You're trying to get the south and the central more like the north division where everybody goes through the puck.
Well, the rate structures are the same. Now, there are some transition charges that our central and our northern district actually have difference of, and there's a TC3 charge that is going to be eliminated actually this year at the end of 2024. So the rates for the cities in this area are going to drop, but that's a transition charge. That's not a rate charge. So the rate structures are the same through both.
So it's kind of confusing, but
Yeah.
basically he's here to tell us to
Deny.
deny
Deny.
he's
Right.
Request.
proposed
Yeah.
rate increase.
Yeah.
It sounds very counterproductive, right?
When he
Yeah.
first walked in, I
Yeah.
was like, why are you here?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm gonna come and help you guys
Yeah.
deny this. I was like,
Okay.
really? Weren't you getting?
That's your recommendation.
Yeah,
Like, no.
yeah. And it's in, I believe your ordinance, and all of them are different. It depends on how they're written in each community. It says to leave the existing rates in effect, which
Mhm.
means you're denying
Denying, yeah.
Right.
our
Right.
ability to increase them. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
So,
That's the way the resolution,
Yeah.
resolution reads.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if anybody has any questions, but
Just to approve
otherwise,
the
yeah.
resolution. Yeah, to deny. So is that transaction, is that a percent? And the one that you say,
Actually,
or is that a?
the TC3 charge, if our initial request is granted,
Mhm.
right? After it goes through the review with the interveners and everybody that's gonna contest this request, right? But let's say it's granted as it is today, which is highly unlikely. It's normally lower. An existing customer today should see approximately a $4.59 increase in their monthly energy use for a residential customer using 1,000 kilowatt hours. However, in January of 2025 or December 2024 and 2025, when the TC3 charge drops, the average residential customer using 1,000 kilowatt hours, that increase will be reduced to $2.11 a month. So kind of somewhere in the half part of it. So that's good news for us.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you for your time.
All right,
Thank
thank you
you
very
for-
much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution finding after reasonable notice and hearing that AEP Texas Inc.'s existing electric rates and charges within the city should remain in effect, requiring notice of resolution to the company and legal counsel.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Okay, item E, discuss and take action on the confirm the dune permit BFDP 24-00001 is consistent with the city's coastal management plan. The proposed permit will allow the installation of a new gas line. The applicant is the city of Port Aransas. The proper location is the Port Aransas Beach.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This permit is, there indicated is, again, another one that I find pretty straightforward. It is for the installation of a 2-inch high-pressure gas line that'll run a fairly good distance. I'll refer you to attachment 3, which is just multiple pages because of the linear feet of pipe, but it shows both a 30-foot construction corridor and the actual location of the pipe. All impacts are temporary. All impacts are temporary. So the they'll use horizontal drilling to facilitate the installation of the pipe. And then, of course, the impacted areas will be restored with indigenous vegetation. So at the end, there'll be very little, well, there'll be no discernible impact. The review or the comments from the GLO were positive. Boiler, basically as close to an approval as we get from them, just requiring restoration as we've indicated in the permit application, use of indigenous vegetation, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really the extent of the permit. It like I said, is pretty straightforward, and it is for the city for that installation of that high pressure gas line.
So just so you know that, so after Hurricane Allen in 1980, there were no dunes. The entire dune complex was wiped out. And right afterwards, the city needed to get a gas line from 1A, which is right there in the picture, down the beachfront to all these beachfront homes that access their properties from the beach. So they put it right along that front lot line, almost 35 years ago. Now the dune complex is built back, and that pipeline is way back in the dune system. And it's much easier for us to just put it right along the toe of the dune, buried. So the new line is, following the toe all the way down there. The other line will remain abandoned in place. But the reason we wanted to do that is because we just didn't want all the dune impacts by going in there and carving out that or putting in the new line right over the old line and having all the dune impacts. It was just much easier to pull it out to the toe of the dune line and run it down the toe of the dune line.
And I think in past conversations with Mitch, our previous director, it would take them days and days to do inspections of the gas line because of the location.
Buried up.
It's probably in there. How deep is this line?
This will be 4 feet, I believe, approximately 4 feet.
How many feet out?
Horizontal drilling.
It's right near the toe, as close as the toe as we can get.
I noticed there were some dune walk or
Yeah.
boardwalks that extended out, so this would be obviously outside of those.
Yeah, it'll be almost where someone's right-hand tire is as they travel south, as close as the dune as we can get it.
Do we have any other gas lines going further left or right where this should be done more?
This is the only one that's beachfront.
For just grabbing some redundancy? Does this help in any redundancy? Not the dune permit.
No, it's really just,
understanding what we
no,
want gas.
it's really just because they're all isolated and none of them have utility access or easements, coming in off of 11th. And so it's these isolated dwellings that have just never been able to obtain any kind of easement from 11th Street so that, their services remain,
But will
through
that
the
tie
dune complex.
into anything at each end to bring gas another way?
No, I
around?
think it dead ends at the north end. It just terminates. Yeah. Yeah.
And then where's the nearest one if we had it connected? I'm just thinking.
The nearest one, what?
Well, if we're getting gas to almost half of the city, would we ever want that if we break a gas line somewhere else in the city, we route it through the beach if somebody hits? Not
I
for the
don't-
dune permit, but for future.
This is just part of the Eclipse project where they're
Right.
replacing all the distribution.
Right.
Yeah.
This is standard.
Right,
2-inch
but-
distribution.
In thinking,
Dale, I think, I don't know, my guess would be, it would be pretty cost prohibitive.
okay,
There wasn't ever an issue, given the number of people served. It's not like the issue we had with the main gas line coming into the city,
okay.
where
To answer your question, we
huge
are.
impacts.
We're reaching out to engineering. We will be bringing that to council for the redundancy and backup. And it's a separate project.
but not for this particular line.
This one's just replacing what.
Yes.
This is replacing what was there, and there never really was an issue with that line,
It just
other
needs
than
to
for
be-
us and the maintenance and the operation
To
and
go get
the,
it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, any other questions?
Make a motion to approve dune permit BFDP 24-00001.
I'll
Right.
second.
Okay, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Witten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, item F, resolution awarding request for proposal RFP 2024-1, Phase 2 Charlie's Pasture North Trail, FEMA project number 36926 to Shirley and Sons Construction Company, Inc., with an additive alternate and the total amount of $2,330.91.
Yes, so we did make the calendar year and are able to get this work done under the permit and the mating of the whooping crane. So we do make a recommendation tonight to get this done. We will have all of the necessary environmental requirements and monitoring going on for this project. And when it says bid alternate, we do believe that it's FEMA funded as means of repair. That's the wire that's gonna go through the bollards. So we recommend a full approval, please.
That's great news.
Yeah, so this is the last trail, you guys, the one that's been from the pavilion west, and then it kind of snakes out to what is called Salt Island, where there is a tower, an existing tower that's still there. So this is the last piece of the nature preserve from Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah, and they worked very closely with us for the environmental part. So this is good news that we did not have to wait till next year's construction season. So a lot of hard work from both our state and federal agencies to support us to get this done.
All right, any further questions for Mr. Doris? Okay, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second. All right, any further discussion? Okay, Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Witten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Right, item G, resolution awarding request for qualifications for professional services for a gas rate study with Resolved Energy Consulting in the amount of $47,000. Funds from the Gas Utility Fund number 250.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we did an RFQ, request for qualifications for a gas rate study. We have a lot of projects we're talking about doing. And I just kind of briefly mentioned I'll be bringing to council here during budget talks, hopefully some engineering for actually construction of backup and redundancy along the highway. So we're gonna have large capital projects and costs. At certain rates in time, you want to do adjustments to your gas rate, especially whenever you have planned large capital projects. So all these things are recommended to be looked at and studied very well. So we do have a rate set that should capture everything we're proposing to do to where we're not getting behind on our future costs. We also have inflation and we also have operational costs. So many different things to study to make sure our rates are accurate. We had 3 responders that would be able to do this gas rate study for us. And between the city manager, myself, and the gas superintendent, we came up with awarding to a group called Resolve. And that's who we're recommending. They went out our ratings. And I did call our neighboring city who uses them and they recommended them highly.
Super. Good job.
So Darla and I were trying to figure out when we did our last
I
rate
know.
adjustment.
That's what I was wondering.
So we don't think we've done a rate study. We called Mitch. He was thinking 2001, maybe. Now we adjust the rates because it's based on a percentage and a multiplier times the price of gas that we're purchasing. But as far as the base number that we use is the multiplier, that's what hasn't changed in a long time. And we really need to look at it. As Lawrence said, we got a lot of capital projects coming up and we got to make sure that that we're, the funding's all fleshing out.
Right. And it could potentially change. I was looking at it. We have one schedule there for commercial, residential, in-towners, out-of-towners. It's just the one.
Yeah.
I could see that probably getting broken up into 4 different types per the category. Plus other things. So we'll see what our new consultant brings to the table and we'll report back.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any other questions regarding the resolution? No? Okay, thank you, Lawrence. Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve awarding RFQ for gas study rate to Resolved Energy Consulting.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Right, item H is a presentation from Broadus and Associates on Hurricane Harvey recovery. Welcome, Rob.
Evening, council members. As you can see, we have the A-team briefing again, with B-team support in the back. Start off with the public safety building. You'll probably see it's right across the street there. It's going very well. We're slightly ahead of schedule. Victory's doing a great job. This week they've been keying on the mezzanine area, which they got to do that so they get all the overhead stuff done and really get rocking and rolling. They got the sides up, all the concrete up, except the generator pad. That's going to be real soon. So that is going well, and Victory's spot on as far as their requirements and all that. The fire station, you can see, we had a fire station groundbreaking this week. Hit the news and everything, couple news stations that went well. And they probably get a notice to proceed next week or so. Depending on the permits, 10 days after they get all the permits, we've got some water district stuff, some other things. 10 days after that, they'll get a notice to proceed. And they had 395 days to get that thing done. Charlie's Patcher Bulkhead, good news. Shirley and Son does a good job. I'm glad they got the nature preserve. Talking to Anthony at Urban, they do a good job and they work fairly quickly. As you can see, they're ahead of schedule on, they were supposed to be done next month or two. And Anthony was kind of pleasantly surprised. They'll be done in the next few weeks. They were working 500 feet at a time. They only have about 100 yards left, maybe a little less. And they've got that already rebarred up. And after that, they got some fill they got to do. And they kind of been doing the fill as they go. So it's going quickly. At the very end where the washout is, they're going to put 2, maybe 3 feet of fill in there. So that's going to take a minute. Today, they were almost rained out, but I went out there and they dropped off a lot of riprap. They're putting riprap in certain areas that to support the bulkhead that Anthony and them have determined with sonar or whatever that are possible weak spots. They were dropping a lot of that off today. So they'll probably get on that right after they finish the actual 100 yards that's left. Gas system. Equix is doing a great job. It kind of amazes me how they work. Because it's just all these pipes and stuff that's not on any diagrams and they're working around real quickly, real safely. The mayor could probably give part of this brief. She had a little extra attention this week.
Let's just say they had to do a lot of extra work in my yard.
Oh.
Yeah, the mayor got extra attention.
I don't know if attention's the right word. Yes, they spend some extra time there. So I run a contest, I think now on who has had the most work done in their yard.
Yeah, she thought she was gonna get by pretty scot-free.
Yeah.
They hit her house.
Oh, no.
They did a couple holes instead of one.
Oh, no, I'll give you a tour. They did a great job. It's all
They
nice.
live on a curve.
I live on a big curve and I have a big concrete driveway and a lot of that got moved. So it's all right. They did a great job. It's all tidy over there.
It's all new
tidy.
now, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've still been doing the bi-weekly meetings. This week, a couple days ago, we had a special meeting, make sure everybody was on track. Urban was there, everybody was there. Because we're getting in the hard part of the city, old part of the city, a lot more dense. Get the building issues square. Everybody played nicely. Everything's going well with that. It's going really well with the gas system. Equix are doing a great job. Harbor Master, if you've been out there, it's getting really close to being done. By the end of this month, they're going to have the building done itself, the Harbor Master building and the pavilion. They have a big fishing tournament first weekend of April, and so they'll be ready for that. And they have a wedding, the first social function, if you will, is a wedding on April 20th. And Barcom has promised it'll be ready by the end of the month. But they will be doing some flat work out there. If you've looked, I mean, all that dirt and dog park and the big palm trees with the 5 planters and all that still got to happen. But the buildings themselves will be done by the end of the month. One of the big problems, key factor to getting the building done was the elevator people. And they kind of delayed a few times, but they actually showed up on the 20th. And it takes about 4 or 5 days to get that elevator done. So the building's going to be done. And we've already talked to Rick Adams, getting occupancy and all that.
If you want a tour, let me know.
No pressure, Rick. Yeah.
Yeah, I went by and looked at the pavers.
those pavers look great.
Yeah, it looks good.
They do.
Okay, where are we at?
It's looking good.
Okay, the Public
wanna
Work,
see the inside.
Public Works Garage, that's kind of on hold until we get the arbitration done for the fire station. As you know, that's, I got no explanation. It's supposed to be done end of January. And they met before Thanksgiving, and I asked Michael and Terry and Leo, and they said it's never taken that long before, I believe. So I got no explanation. The answer will come when it comes. The lawyers have to talk to each other. You know, we can't pester them. So as soon as.
You mean the federal judges?
Yeah.
Yeah. the
We
federal-
can pester the lawyers.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. So Joanna, checks the website every day, and as soon as we find out anything, we'll let David or let you guys know, but no word on when we'll get that decided. As you can see on your brief sheet, we got 29 projects going, and payments already received by the city is almost $70 million in this recovery effort. So still got more to go, as you know. Pending any questions, that concludes my brief.
Good job.
Great update.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Okay, item I is resolution approving a professional services agreement with Half Associates for the preparation and construction drawings for Roberts Point Park Playground renovation, authorizing funding in the amount of $199,000 and authorizing city manager to sign all documents associated with said agreement. Welcome back, Colleen.
We've missed you.
We've missed you.
So this is to get the ball rolling for all of the engineering services for the big revamp of Roberts Point Park. 10,000 square foot area, all the flat work, topography, concrete work, the layout of all the landscaping, irrigation, everything through construction management through the final product is with this agreement with Half. The equipment comes from
Craftsman.
separate company, Craftsman. And so they put the play equipment throughout the landscape that's designed by Half. So once Half has their 30% drawings done, Craftsman can lay out everything that they want to put out there, and they'll come in with.
But they've been designing.
Right.
Yeah, so I have some drawings that aren't ready to share yet, but there's been things in the works. This is just making it official with Half, so that we can keep the ball rolling.
Will it include I know they're the main circle, right, or the main area where the playground is, but what about the piece kind of, that's
All the
north
way
of
to
that?
the parking area.
Yeah.
What David's circling, yep.
It's kind of an odd shape, but it's kind of about like that, Colleen.
Yeah, I don't think it cuts into the bocce. And
Oh,
the
it doesn't?
bubble
Okay.
board.
Okay.
So it's more just like this.
Yeah. And there
It's
may
this.
be, like I said, there aren't drawings of this yet, so it could be a little bit, altered from that, but that's the general area, yeah.
That's exciting. When do you expect it to all be?
Well, I was just
done?
counting weeks on
Sorry.
the calendar, and I would love to see it done by 4th of July. I was hoping faster than that, but with leave, and we had to go back and forth with this scope of services a couple of times, so.
So
pushed us a
realistically,
little further
probably.
back than I
Okay.
wanted it.
That's
Yeah,
like
we argued
the
for,
playground equipment installed and ready for a ribbon cutting on 4th of July?
That would be ideal.
Oh, yeah.
If they
Okay.
can really roll the way they're supposed to, it's 14 to 16 week fabrication and delivery and install. So
Okay.
And Craftsman's ready or close to being ready? hopefully?
they're
They're
chomping
ready.
at the bit, ready to go. They're
Oh,
waiting
okay.
on this part. so.
Okay, well,
All
let's
right,
get this approved.
Let's get it right now.
go to
You can go email them right.
Lowe's and buy some swing sets.
Yeah, something.
So-
Yeah.
Well, we rented bounce houses a
Yes,
couple of weekends
yeah.
ago, and I was like, this is a pretty good alternative.
And I got a good comment on that.
It's
We're
not,
doing-
the pop-up.
Someone said something, I was like,
Yeah.
I
was
heard
like,
good
really?
things about it. I didn't know you were doing
It's a
that,
more
but
economical option if we
heck yeah.
want to revisit this idea. I'm just kidding.
all right.
Okay.
Okay,
All
all
right.
right. Any other questions for Colleen? All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Counselor Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owens.
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger.
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford.
Yes.
Councilmember Christensen.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right.
Thank you. I'm staying here because I'm.
Yes,
Yeah, you're
please.
next.
Item J is an update from Ms. Colleen Simpson, our Parks and Recs Director for the
Yay.
Allister Community Park
Yay.
project.
This one, I'm excited to give you updates because things have really been moving.
Good.
Today, we had a pre-bid meeting with contractors and did a site walkthrough. Bids are due April 5th, and so I'm hoping to award a contract at the April.
Awesome.
I'm hoping you all will be able to award a contract at the April meeting. And the first step of the park construction is AEP moving their power lines. So that's supposed to happen end of this month, first week of next month. And then they'll be, ready to go, demo the road, install parking, have a new beautiful green space with the pavilion and all the landscaping. So if everything rolls smoothly, we could be looking at a new park beginning of August.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
That's
I really
exciting.
feel like stuff's happening.
Yeah. Progress.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if
Do you
any
have a lot of
questions-
response in your contractor pre-bid?
On the pre-bid, we had two
Oh.
contractors show up.
But we can
but
maybe
there's been
recruit
some
another one.
dialogue. Yeah,
Okay,
we're,
good.
we're making sure everybody that we've worked with previously knows about it. So
Right.
I'm hoping to see multiple.
Maybe a couple more. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Any other questions for Colleen regarding that? That's just an
That's
update, so no
exciting.
motion
Okay.
there.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
It's
Thank you,
exciting.
ma'am.
Thank
Welcome back. I know
you.
you've been back, but I mean,
Yeah.
welcome back in front of council. Item K, resolution adopting an amendment to the 2024 fee schedule, approving amendments to airport fees and marina fees and providing for the severance and setting effective date.
All right, Chris sitting here. So there's just a few fee schedule adjustments. The first one is a recommendation from the airport board. And that's the first page. It's aircraft tie down transient parking going from $5 a night per engine to $10 a night per engine and $25 a night for turbo or jet engine.
Anybody have any issue with that?
No.
Okay.
Okay, that's
All right,
that one.
Moving on.
And then a bunch of pages where there's no changes and you get back to the marina. There's a couple scratch throughs because those items were moved. They either disappeared, like floating pavilion, that's no longer there. And then the small pavilion, those items moved to the rec center's responsibility. So the only one on this is to set a fee for the brand new Marina Harbor Master second floor events room,
Oh, yeah.
which we think will be a big hit.
Yeah, I think so.
And
too.
so we need to get that fee set because we got people wanting to rent it next month.
Right. Oh, that's
So the recommendation that we came up with was $350 a day plus a deposit for, cleaning.
Mhm. I
So
think
that's what you have
very
before
reasonable.
you.
What do we charge for the Civic? Is it still 300?
750.
Oh, 750. Oh, it went up, but it's a
The
whole lot bigger.
community center is
What is
around
it?
$350.
Okay. So it's, yeah,
So it's similar to the community center rental.
I think that's fair.
And then that's the only other fee change.
Okay.
And then the permit is $50 per event?
That's your special events permit.
Oh, just special.
yeah,
Okay,
that's-
Okay, got it. All right.
Anybody have any questions regarding the fee change there?
Just
Okay, just those, that's it, right?
Just
Dave?
those, yeah.
All done, yes, Okay. All right, so the resolution is adopting the changes that we just
Yes.
discussed.
Okay. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution with the new fee schedule.
Okay,
A second.
all right, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen.
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford.
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers.
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owens.
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, item L, general discussion on beach pending associated with small events permits.
Yes, that was me.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I just had some people last summer mentioning that there were some people down, seemed like they were doing business on the beach other than the people that were supposed to, like the concessionaires and stuff. And I just wanted to see if we could determine who can and who can't, and what our special events are and things like that. I mean, as far as people doing food or renting trailers or, just things like that. I'm not trying to stop like weddings or anything like that. But if anybody has any thoughts on it.
So I know you can't sell food or drinks down there, correct? I mean, we have a vendor that rents things, but we aren't allowed to sell food, right, down there?
No.
Is that, yeah?
No.
Okay.
That's where they come.
The only thing you can do, you could do a large events permit, which like Sandfest, where they come to council.
Right.
Or you could do a small events permit, which is through administration. It's a $50 permit, which if someone's doing a wedding, and so if someone's doing an event that requires any commercial activity, like a tent company to come up and set up a tent, a caterer to show up to cater. What are some of the other ones?
Some boiling
guy.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
a food one, a
Your
caterer.
role, yeah.
So anytime you have that, and anytime you want something like that on the beach, you have to come get the $50 small events permit.
Okay.
We at least get to review it, see what they're doing,
Okay.
and then make a decision on whether or not it qualifies. And then that grants them the right to, hire the tent company, because otherwise there is no commercial vending on the beach and it's prohibited. So only through the small events permit. Now you couldn't get a small events permit to just sell tacos.
Right.
We wouldn't give that.
Okay.
You can get a small event permit for a wedding, a family reunion, a business,
So a true event. Yeah.
retreat, something like that. Yeah.
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 And when they do that, ask for that permit, then you can approve.
Right.
or
Now,
not
if
approve.
we see someone down there setting up a tent and they don't, so all the event permits, they go to the police department so that at least everyone's on the same page. And
And they
so the
know.
police seeing the tent being set up, they could
Yeah.
check their list and say, oh, there's the Walters reunion at
Right.
marker 20. And so they know that one's permitted. Otherwise, code enforcement or the police could call us and say, hey, there's a big group down here with tents and blah, blah, blah. And we were like, ooh, there's no permit. And we would go down and bust it up.
So what if it's a Saturday or Sunday? Does code enforcement, do they work weekends? too?
No, but the police would
Okay,
police
then that's when they go.
circle through. Usually we get word.
Right.
So I think a lot of people see those food trucks down on Nueces County, and they think that they can do the same thing. on
Yeah.
Port Aransas Beach.
Yeah, because Nueces County, from Lantana north to the jetty, they have complete different rules. I think
Right.
they do have a food truck or two.
Yeah, but it's all under that one guy. It's all
Yeah,
under the
yeah,
fair
Yeah,
person.
so they're different.
But
How many small event permits do we, just on average, just guess, how many y'all do we do a year?
It depends, weddings are all fall into that category, so sometimes they what, yeah.
Oh, I get
20 of-
2 or 3 a week.
Yeah. I see a lot down there.
so if they rent a tent, can they park a food truck there and the food truck work that wedding or work that special event?
Yeah, so you technically could do that. So you could have, if you had a wedding and you said, hey, I'm gonna cater it with, Bill's Tacos and he's a taco truck. That's just like a caterer.
We have tried, when we have tried to, if they do that, make them cover up any signs they have so that they're not.
Well,
Advertising.
yeah, I mean,
But that's
Right.
hit or miss, you know it.
They can't sell to the general public.
they can't sell to the
Right.
general public.
Right.
Yeah, that we'd stop them if we caught them.
But you had mentioned that you didn't really care to see the food truck sitting there by the tents.
Well, I
catering.
mean, that's something that you guys need to decide collectively, I mean, do you want to see a more limited permit that doesn't get too out of hand? Does someone really need to hire a food truck? Or do we say, hey, if you want to cater your event, your caterer can come down and serve under your tent, but we don't want to see a bunch, do you really want the guy to hire the snow cone truck and the taco truck and then you know, it's potentially turning into a circus at that point, but, or do we want to restrict that somehow?
You know, and it's just that
I don't
we're
know.
3 deep parked on the beach right now, almost all summer. I think that was part of it, but it seemed like there was some extra activity going on down there.
So are you wanting to see more policing of the existing ordinance, or are you wanting to see a change in what we?
Well, I just wanted
Yeah.
to see also how anybody else felt about it. I mean, is that something y'all want to have on there or not? I don't care to ever see food trucks on the beach because I think it's just more congestion and it's a circus and one thing leads to another. You know, I like everybody to have a good time and have their weddings and, you know, birthday parties or whatever. But it just seems like there's a bunch of pirates down there.
Is
You know?
catering's different from vending?
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Vending's
Yeah,
excluded, done.
yeah,
A catering truck and a food truck are often the same
Well,
thing.
I'm just
Right.
saying.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Same vehicle.
You're right,
right, could be the same thing.
Yeah.
correct.
I mean, we
But-
do caterings down there, but we
Yeah.
don't have a food truck, but
Now, one
sometimes
thing-
we
yeah.
have 4 cars because it takes that many
Yeah.
to get the stuff down there. So.
But there's some things that,
Well,
there's some things that people are seeing down there that we don't have a whole lot of control over, like you're seeing these palapa bars. Right? Someone
Right.
takes a flatbed trailer,
Yeah.
puts a little railing around it, builds a bar inside. It has, you know, 6 stools on each side of the bar, and they tow it down there, and you can set up a bar for your friends and
Well, your
guests.
friends, but that's so small. That's like a small trailer.
No, we're seeing some of those are big.
Yeah.
Some of them
Well, then
are
that's
2-story. So
I'm starting.
you know, if someone rents that in town and I go hook it up with my truck and I tow it to the beach, that's perfectly fine. There's no rule against that. If
Right.
I'm just using it for myself. Now, I couldn't open it up to the
Sell,
public
yeah.
and start, you know,
As long as they're not
Dave's
selling.
bar. That's a problem.
And
We
it's
would
perpendicular
stop
to the
that.
beach. It's not strung out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
Right.
then if the person owned that bar palapa trailer, they would not be allowed to deliver it to the beach themselves. That would constitute, once their
Vending.
employees are on the beach,
Yeah.
now that's commercial activity.
Right.
Unless they did it under a $50 beach permit.
Right.
So,
For a special event.
so we have been seeing a couple of these beer trailer things that get loaned to friends and they keep showing up,
Right.
which we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Do we want to increase our $50 special event? fee?
It's been $50 for
Very long time.
20+ years.
The 10 years I've been here, it's always been 50.
Yeah. I don't know if it was anything less when I first got here 20 years ago. I think it's been 50.
That could be
When
something.
they get this permit and they're gonna have a vendor come and service their event, is there anything in the permit that says that they have to cover up anything on their trucks, or they can
No,
still use as a
no.
billboard on the beach?
No, we've tried to make them do that when we know about it. The problem is we're not always privy to the permits.
Right.
Because we
Well,
can use the
yeah.
sign part of the ordinance and since you can't
The
advertise.
problem is if Dave's electric company has a giant van and he's down on the beach hanging out in Dave's electric, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't go ticket him for displaying advertisement on the beach.
But with the special event permit, you can do something about that.
You maybe could, but geez, it'd be a pain in the
Hard
butt.
to know.
I mean, you get
Yeah.
a caterer's truck who's fully wrapped in
Yeah. Well, that
Bill's
slow your
tacos. I
roll,
mean,
it's all 3
what-
sides.
I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be a staff nightmare.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it'd be,
is the.
I don't even know if it's legal.
concern-
We've tried to do it a few times, because we get a call that somebody's vending on the beach. We go down there and sure enough, it's a special event permit, and somebody with one of those trailers, we say, well, at least cover up the call. You do that with Susanna Reeder, you know, you can rent the kids with a special event permit, but we tell her you can't have the for rent signs on.
Well, she was putting up an A-frame, wasn't she?
No, she had posted on.
Yeah, she was like sticking a little stick in the ground. I
Oh,
think, you know, rent me.
Yeah.
you can't have
Yeah.
rip me signs.
It's difficult, man.
Yeah.
but people see it and we get calls immediately
Right.
saying,
No, I know.
we want to do it too.
Yeah.
Well,
Anything we can do to make it simpler, maybe with some sort of postage or some kind of thing that's displayed, so when you guys have to, or if anybody goes and sees, they understand that that is not a special event, but a permitted event. Without making it difficult.
Yeah.
I think it's just making sure our code enforcement officers who patrol the beach, really know the rules and take light of that and, have that information equipped to know who has special events permit and who doesn't. And, if there's someone that looks like they don't, then maybe they go and give them a friendly visit.
except for when it's on the weekend.
Well, we're gonna try to get a little bit more enforcement on at least maybe Saturdays this
Yeah.
coming summer.
Our new guys can work Saturdays.
Oh,
And
cool.
Sundays, they did it at the boat ramp.
Okay. Any other thoughts? or anything?
Oh, no, I just wanted to have the discussion
sure.
and see what anybody else thought about it. If they had any other issues or thoughts or whatever.
Sounds like we need to review the special event permit.
That's
though,
what I'm
a
thinking.
piece, if nothing else,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
if there's anything anybody wants to add to it.
Right.
You want me to bring it to you guys next month?
Yeah, because we might want to do a fee increase too.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
that sound like a wrap on that? Okay. All right, so item 6, the city manager report.
Okay, update on land acquisition behind the IGA. So of course, you guys know that for about, I think in the summertime, you guys approved me to go out and get let me pull it up right here. It's behind the IGA, centered between Avenue C and E, and bounded on the west side by the water ditch, and then on the east side by IGA. So it's basically this parcel right in here. I did just recently receive the appraisal for that. And so I'm going to bring that to you guys at the April meeting in a closed executive session with the attorney to discuss that. But I did get the appraisal just this week, so just to give you an update, so we finally got it. So it took a long time. It was because the Supreme Court back in the summer changed their definition of what the Corps of Engineers has jurisdiction of navigable adjacent lands to bodies of water. That definition changed permanently in September. And so how people look at wetlands, whether you can now fill them, is quite different. So the appraisers or land appraisers who do appraisals on what things that maybe were wetlands, but maybe now aren't, are really struggling to correctly define value or assign value to a piece of dirt, because they're sitting there scratching their head. They're like, can I fill this and build a house on it? Or is it still under core jurisdiction and it's protected wetland? So that's everything in the world. A piece of dirt might be worth, a 50 by 100 piece of dirt might be worth 200,000, or it might be worth about $10. So that's what really threw him for a loop, but he finally thinks he worked his way through it and got us a number. So we'll discuss that at April.
Okay, anything else, David?
Wow.
All right, so we'll move on to some staff reports. And first would be the accounting finance. Darla is out.
Darla is out.
She's got some.
Chuck, you want to give it?
Yeah, all you, Chuck.
Good.
I was like, well, should I do it? And I was like, well, I think Chuck should do it.
I can't hit it as detailed as he does, but definitely sales tax down 3% compared to the
Yep.
prior year. Notice the hotel occupancy tax was down 20%.
Yeah.
and, January was about 70. And a majority of that, I mean, we've seen in our businesses too, you know, an influx of some winter Texan business, which they won't contribute to that. And
Yeah.
my question to Darlene was here, I know you guys have made mention about some of the reporting compared to prior year.
Yeah,
with the
she was really
reservation system.
scratching her head on that one. And we were discussing that last week when she ran those numbers and that number came up. She did have to run off to Houston for some medical issues, so she was still digging into that when she left. So, but we definitely were wondering about that because it was such a big shift.
Well, and I think if you look at it, I think that month last year, which is, you know, not actually February, you know, it's December, but I
Yeah.
think it's an anomaly. I think that reporting was probably an anomaly because I mean, you just look historically, I mean, that would have been a huge,
Yeah,
huge
so
month
she was going
for
back
December.
and trying to dig
Right,
and see
yeah.
if there were some a
reporting.
couple late
yeah,
reporting
changes.
that really bumped up that February 23 number.
What I did do, just because it was on council back in 17, I just went back, I just wanted to get an idea of, so for the months of October through February, which is September through January, through the occupancy tax collections is just under 2 million, 101,999,000. In 2017, at the same time, it was just over 1 million. That's about a 97% increase. That's pretty.
But did the end
But
of that
numbers-
included the end of
No,
2017?
ma'am, this is just straight from October through February.
I know, but October 2017 through February 2018, because that would have been really low that time because we had Hurricane Harvey.
Okay, let me do one better. How about 16?
Okay.
So if I did
Let's do that.
16,
Okay.
okay, so 1.9 million. If you go to 2016, that was 904,000. So that's a million over, which is about 121%. The sales tax, about 1.1 million in 2024. This one, I had to go back to 17. I need to go back to the other one.
Yeah, Harvey's going to be a bad comparison.
But in comparison, so this year we're down 20% in occupancy tax compared to last year, 3% in sales tax. 2 years ago, we were 3% down occupancy and 0, pretty much break even in sales. And again, like Ms. Moore said, I'm sure there's some deviations there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think those changes or those increases we saw in 21 and 22 are going to be not the same for the next couple of years for sure. So.
Yes, ma'am.
Those are people not working and.
Okay, any others reports, Mr. Crawford?
No.
Good job.
Darla would be so proud.
You're hired.
I was gonna hire you.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's watching.
Okay, so we'll move on to Lawrence. You want to come up and give us your glowing report?
All right, try to keep it brief, just touch on the things that have changed a little bit. For the mitigation drainage project, they're on 12th and Summer Place, or laying concrete there right now. They should be done with that next week and then start restoration of that area the following week. They're also on Avenue E. They're pouring concrete from 10th to 9th. They're right around that region. They're also pouring on the other end of E near the ditch, close to that same property city manager was talking about. And they're going to be still continuing the pour out of that. E will be all concrete whenever it's done.
We kind of went with that decision because it was, number one, we got the same rate for it. But we have all the heavy delivery trucks to IGA that come off of Alistair and turn on the E. So it gets a lot of really hard turning. So it's just better for it to be concrete. And on the east side of E, it's all the public works, motor graders and dump trucks. So because we got a good deal for it, it made sense for those two sections to go back in as concrete. It's a little bit more of a pain if you ever have to cut it. But we think for those two, because of the truck traffic and heavy equipment, I think we'll get more return on our money, so.
Do they start earlier than 7 o'clock?
They do. They have
Like at 4 a.m. turning lights and equipment on.
They have to ask for special permission, and we've been allowing them with this concrete pour. Because they're new to the area, they're getting very early slots from the concrete factories. And so we're doing our best to work with them to keep them on schedule to get this project done.
They're
But
kind of newbies, so the concrete guys give them like the worst time slots, like 4 a.m. In summertime, you want those
Right.
early time slots,
Sure.
but now you could, with these temperatures, you could be pouring anytime. So they're just kind of low man on the totem pole.
We did task them to talk with the neighborhood and get their approval. So they are doing that, and they told me today that they got everyone's consent, because they're gonna be doing another one, I think tomorrow.
Summer place, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Or a sign like Equus was good. We're coming tomorrow,
you
it's
know.
4 a.m. Just don't try to sleep in.
Mhm. Fire EMS station site and groundwork will begin there pretty soon. Harbor master building, temporary certificate of occupancy expected at end of the month. Flat work will continue though. That's that dog park and parking area next to the facilities. That will be fenced off, but the rest of the facilities will be open as planned.
Do we think all that'll be done by like Memorial Day,
Final completion?
like the dog park?
Oh, yeah.
Palm trees,
Yes.
all that,
It should be.
Yes.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I doubt they go over another month for that work. It shouldn't take that.
Yeah,
long.
that's 2.5 months away.
Yeah.
We'll hit that.
Public safety building, the new driveway connecting A and 6 is complete. Electrical HVAC install are still ongoing, and the floor CMU block and tile are ongoing. They're starting to kind of space out rooms over there. You can kind of see the layout now if you go walk through it. Street and drainage bond, Tarrant, White, Cotter, Access Road 1A, Piper Avenue I, Nice Street, Allister, Oaks, Rundret, Church Street are all complete. Portions of 11th Street are repaired, but there's still more work to be done there. We're having some drainage issues we've ran into, and we're working through this. And work on Eskridge Road is ongoing.
Yeah, the transitions are real smooth if you've driven over them. Yeah, so we're really happy with
I've got a question.
with how they're looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're gonna do Ross, right,
Yes,
Avenue,
yeah.
6th Street, where they come together, there's a big old,
Big speed bump.
yes. Somebody keeps calling me about it. and I
Yeah.
was Like, I keep forgetting to tell you, and I was like,
Yeah.
are they gonna do that? Is that corner gonna be done there? Is it just? Ross
Yes,
Avenue?
it's, I'll look, but if it's not on the plans, it will be on the plans, because I hit that thing the other day and I was like.
It's
God.
bad.
And it's
Okay.
weird, it's a bump from,
Looks like it's.
it's
pushed.
both things are expanding, right? Because it's concrete on the west side of Sixth.
Mm.
And there's it's a control joint, and you have the asphalt and concrete, I think they're both expanding.
Yeah.
And so the asphalt's weaker, and it's like plate tectonics
It's just
at a
like
smaller
it's
scale.
pushed out. It's a speed
I had
bump.
to use my geology degree.
It's big.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is all.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions?
No, any questions?
Good job.
All right,
Thank y'all.
thank you.
Rec Center is moving. We've been having a lot of the programming meetings and making really good progress, so it's moving forward too, so.
Well, we have a lot of projects, don't we?
All right, Rick, you were up, sir.
Oh, so what's for short-term rentals? We've got some. 2639 as of today, registered. So the numbers continue to slowly creep up. The bulk, again, I think that represents the bulk, although like I said, they're still trickling in. So, thus far for the first few months of 24, 3 complaints on the complaint line, one parking and noise, and 1 lighting. So, and all of those are typically the big 3 that we would get anyway. So it's not unusual.
Was that through last week?
That's through the 21st.
Oh, okay.
Through today.
All
I talked with Laura a little bit today. She just wanted me to tell you, because she goes out and we're touching every registration. So she actually, and by that I mean we're actually inspecting the properties. And she says we've got about 99% compliance when she goes out there and looks at a property.
Awesome.
And things like fire extinguishers are usually taken care of within a day or 2, she says. So that's good. Permits. So thus far, we've issued 29 permits, but as Nicole wanted me to point out, with our third-party inspector and our third-party review process right now, we've got about 59 in review. So that normally when I report to you, I do report the ones that we've actually issued, because heretofore, we hadn't had a lot in review because we were doing them in-house, but, so there are a lot, but just as a means of comparison, real quickly, for, last year, the same time frame to date, we would have issued 58. And, the year prior, that would have been 69. So again, 69 and 22, 58, last year and 29, plus the ones in review. So, it's looking like right now that, had those been with the prior system, we'd have probably issued a lot more than this, just a 29. So the numbers are up a little bit, it looks like, from last year.
Read me those numbers again. How many in review and how many you've approved?
So right now, year to date, issued 29.
Right.
We've got 59 with AOCA, who is our
Yeah.
our preferred reviewer right now, for lack of having our own building official, which is posted and we're looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
what's the average turnaround time?
right. It's getting shorter. Like I said, the other thing too that, Nicole asked, I mentioned, is that these guys are thorough. They're not overly, they're not overly burdensome in their requirements. Everything is by the code. But prior to, with Don and some of our previous building officials, they hadn't taken as hard a stance. They made a lot of assumptions depending on the contractor. So these guys are by the book. If it's not on the plans, they want a note as to it being on the plan. Structurally, if the engineers can't tell us what code they're using prescriptively to design a house, they have to, or they're not going to issue the permits. To answer your question, Wendy, if for those that have gotten used to the system and providing what they need to by code anyway, the turnaround's less than a week.
The time they submit it to us, if they don't require any revisions, it's about the same as it was before, about a 2-week process. We haven't had one submitted yet that doesn't require revisions. So we're looking at about 3 or 4 weeks on the guys that have really gotten used to the new program. I would expect in probably another couple of weeks, we'll get back to, they only take 3 days to review. Once
Right.
they give it, then they take 3 days.
Yeah. So the review process is fairly quick. It's getting the follow-up.
Back from the contractor,
Yeah.
specifically from some engineers that is really.
Yeah. So if you hear any complaint that's taking weeks, that's not necessarily true. The reviews are happening pretty quickly. The burden on them following up with proper documentation that's by the code that they should be doing is where we're
the slowdown.
It's slowdown. But they're learning. And like I said, David has given us the authority to just hold them to it. We're not cutting them any slack. If it's the code, it's the code. And that's what they're doing. So, but they're very easy to work with. The contractors can reach them. They'll have lengthy conversations to explain, why and what, and give them the code citations. They're on the ball. Nicole's been out on a couple of the virtual inspections, and conceptually, it'll be great. Practically, with our limited connectivity, sometimes both cellular and internet, it's been a little bit of a challenge because it does rely on that technology exclusively. But the time it's worked, it's been pretty cool, and the contractors like it. So basically, they can go out there and I guess FaceTime is the equivalent for some, whatever the video deal, and they can do it right there on site. So it's pretty good. Ferry update. So day before yesterday, they went back to the schedule. They suspended the ferry improvement project through spring break, but on the 19th, it kicked up again, as is evident by the big display signs that they posted in the strangest of places to let us know that construction's going on. It'll be a phase project. Again, you've heard 2 to 3 years on this side. And then if they get funding, it'll probably be a similar time frame on the other side. But that'll be phased. They'll take the two western ramps down first. Those will probably start, if they haven't already, they'll start to come down. They've indicated that they will leave a minimum of 3, and ideally, when they can, 4 ramps open at all times, 3 at all times, 4 if possible. They typically use 1 as a maintenance ramp. So I don't know that we'll count on many more than 3. The first phase will be 2. Then they'll take the next one down 1, then another pair, and then the final one towards the end of the project. We are still talking about looking at options to expand the park and ride. We anticipate that it's going to become extremely busy It already is extremely busy. They still are saying with a straight face that they really don't anticipate a significant slowdown in capacity.
How is
With a
that even
straight face,
possible?
they say that. We'll see. They have by contractually, much like the JFK Bridge limitations, they do contractually will not have construction going on during the holidays, Sandfest, those events. They will not have construction. But again, it doesn't mean the ramps will come back. So they may not be active construction going on.
Yeah.
The crane out maybe hauling material, but I don't know that will have a significant bearing on the transit and the movement of traffic. So that's probably about it when it comes to the ferry right now. A lot of it, we'll just have to see if they continue to say with a straight face that it's not going to affect things. We'll know in pretty short order. They have implemented a shuttle, golf cart shuttle on their part to take the people in the park and ride. We've done some van carpooling. I think David and Fran are working on with RTA.
Fran already has it set up.
Yeah, to enhance the shuttle, the schedule. So I think
How many
that'll
are
be.
riding it now, Fran?
It's about 9 employees that ride. If
Yeah.
someone wants to come over, we are allowed to put other individuals in. So there's a couple of seats that are available for others that want to come over at 7:30 and then leave here.
And it's available to other businesses. It's about $800 a month.
Mhm.
And basically they provide you a 14 passenger van, brand new, and they can take it wherever, drop off their employees, and then they get, because it has the RTA symbol,
Priority boarding.
they can get in priority boarding. So like what Fran and them are doing is they leave the van starts off on the Harbor Island side, down in the park and ride, and they all come and park and they meet there for about what, 20 minutes?
We give them
7:30, 7:40? And then they load the van up and drive it through the priority line, bring it to City Hall, park it, everyone gets out, and then reverse it at the end of the day. So if someone wanted, you could drive the van all the way to Ramses Pass.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's a great opportunity for businesses,
Yeah.
you know, because obviously there's gonna always be some ferry wait times in the summer especially. I know that the golf cart shuttle that they've implemented has been a very successful and appreciated method for people just to get from the park and ride over to the ferry. So I've appreciated that they're doing that. And then I know RTA is gonna work on their summer shuttle service, which will, I think, also help. So
Yeah,
anything we can do to try to get
One
people
idea we
over
were
quickly.
thinking about, and I talked to the mayor about it, was in Roberts Point Park. So we recently redid this nice sidewalk into the park. And then it has this little connectivity spur and it goes down, it connects to the bulkhead sidewalk, but it also connects to the crosswalk system at the ferry. So one idea was to, right here, maybe have a little 2-car bump out drop off, to where if you wanted to drop someone off, you could just come into the park, whip around, pull in there, and they could get out and have access to that sidewalk. And then they could just get on, or you could, pick someone up.
That's much better option, because what's happening now is a lot of people who just try to drop off their own individual person or persons, and they try to get into the ferry line or in around the ferry line. With the congestion that gets there often, as we all know, it's very difficult to do that. So that, I think, would be a better, safer opportunity for someone to, get over there easily, drop off their person, and then have that person walk, directly to the ferry.
And since this is going to be kind of a long drawn out
Yeah.
effort, it probably would be pretty beneficial. Any questions? Thank you.
Oh, lighting. Will you touch base? We are working on the lighting. And we should be getting a meeting with Chairman Hunter.
Right, with TxDOT.
Hopefully next week.
Yeah, so
Oh, for the.
TxDOT has done some preliminary work and they've actually have some GIS mapping of lighting locations for a continuous illumination. Obviously, this would be something in concert with Corpus Christi, but a continuous
Yeah,
illumination of 361. Right now, the discussions have been very, very preliminary. Funding, of course, is the big part. So I will probably get back with you as far as once we've talked to to Chairman Hunter, there's some options in the Texas code for funding. And again, when it's a safety issue, which we, I think, have a pretty good argument, which opens up a different basket for funding is if we were just to initiate a partnership for the continuous lighting piece. Safety lighting can be considered continuous lighting can be considered safety lighting under certain parameters, which are safety based, as you might assume. So like I said, we've got to have some discussions. We want to see where our legislative delegation, see what kind of support they'd be willing to throw our way before we, I think, really go back to TxDOT with some negotiation is probably the best way I could characterize it. But it's in the discussion, and obviously it'd be a huge win if we could get that continuous illumination of Highway 361, much like the pilot lighting that you see down south by the state park, which was done. My understanding from what TxDOT explained was done to see if the arms attached to the AEP poles would reach and provide enough illumination for both lanes, which I think for those that have driven by there, it clearly does. So to be continued.
All right, Rick. Thank you very much, Rick. Okay, Mr. Johnson, you're up next. You didn't wear that fancy shirt tonight? I know.
That was fancy clothes.
That was our fancy time.
Is that for TV only?
That's it. That's
Yeah,
it.
TV
shirt.
Yep, pretty much. And thank y'all for everything. That was pretty awesome. And we're very
It was-
excited about that.
It was a good day.
Yeah, it's a good day. As far as the reports, it's pretty easy going. We ran pretty flat compared to February of 23, 80 calls. Only difference is I don't have the 23 transports, but we're over 50% still. So our transports are continuing to go up, but the call volume stayed pretty flat, like I said. Other than that, Bay Area stays as our primary place to go to. They have had some extended wait time, so we've been going to a few other hospitals in the meantime. They're trying to get that figured out, but everybody's busy. The flu, COVID, everything's still going around, and there's still a lot of patients. So that's going on. And skipping down to the summary, yeah, you know a little bit about that. Pals Train, I told y'all last month that we sent one of our Erica off to get the instructor. So now she is, well, as of today, she's already done the entire staff. So everybody's got their pals and their ACLS. So we're all updated on that, which is going to save the city a lot of money in the future from not sending us off to get that done, outsourcing it. So yeah, that's really good. We've got unit 526 back. It was gone for a little while trying to get some electrical gremlins figured out, and they've got everything figured out, and it has been on the road, and it ran through spring break without any kind of issues. And so everything was good on that. So it's exciting. And then 348, which was the white Tahoe that went through the hurricane, it went off to the spa and got repainted. Graphic, and everything looks good on it. So the guys are excited to have that, and we'll go from there. Other than that, I'm just kind of trucking along. Anybody got any questions or anything?
Can't wait to hear about next week.
Oh,
I mean, next month,
Yeah.
this month, next month.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Those-
Last
I mean,
week, next
we were
month.
busy for sure. I don't have the numbers yet, but I know it definitely had our work cut out for us.
Busy as usual.
Yeah, pretty good one. Thanks.
Okay, all right. Chief Burrows?
These guys are super busy.
Have you recovered?
Haven't started yet.
Haven't even.
Are you gonna miss spring break in Port Aransas when you leave us?
So I want to be right in the middle of it.
Coming back.
You're gonna come back and be
Yeah.
a spring breaker, aren't you?
Yeah. Go from the chaser to the chasee. So, our February numbers were, pretty consistent where we've been in previous Februaries. The biggest anomaly in your statistics here are gonna be on your, court citations. The municipal court's been backlogged a little bit with the failure to appear. They haven't had the work over there, and Judy's joined the staff over there, so they filed 442 charges of failure to appear last month, so that kind of throws our skis out.
Yeah.
Skews our numbers a little bit.
Bless her heart.
Under the arrest, if you look there, we had, I actually had an arrest for contempt of court I think that's the first time in 15 years we had a sovereign citizen who decided he was not going to recognize the authority of the court. He spent a couple hours in jail and changed his mind and decided that it really was a real court.
And that he wasn't sovereign.
And he wasn't as sovereign as he thought he was. So, Biggest significant event for the month, we did have our annual awards banquet, and I appreciate those of you that were able to attend. I'd like to recognize our Rookie of the Year was BJ Grimes from our
I think
our
that's
animal
great.
control officer. Our administrative assistant Melinda Ramos was recognized as the non-sworn employee of the year. And senior officer Jonathan Haber, who came to us from the Dallas-Fort Worth area 2 years ago, was awarded the officer of the year. And Joellen Kruger was recognized as one of our volunteers of the year. Thank you very much for all the work you do at the shelter. That's it. It was a very interesting spring break. We saw some, I know we'll do a little more in-depth report, but just to piggyback a little bit over what Mr. DeWitt was saying, we saw a significant change in the trends this year with the younger population. In the last 3, 4, 5 years, probably since post Harvey, after about 8 or 9 o'clock, it got really quiet on the beach. There was hardly any traffic down there. So we've been with the beach curfew, been kind of pushing everybody towards Corpus at 6. So they significantly increased their presence this year, and about 10:30, 11 pushed everybody back to us. So we had a very late arriving crowd. I think was it Thursday or Friday night, there was a caravan that was on the beach over 1.5 miles long. So you figure about 250 cars per mile. So that was a pretty big late arriving crowd, and we were able to keep them dispersed under the drinking curfew. They never really had an opportunity to regather, but we haven't seen those late arriving crowds like that in pre-Harvey. So I think it's probably since we put the alcohol curfew in effect, was at 15 or 16. So we are seeing a different trend again, or different change. I think the new beach access road will be a significant help. It would help us do like what Corpus does and create a one-way flow of traffic. I mean, I got stuck, I think it was either Friday or Saturday night. I was going to be smart and cut out of the heavy crowd and get down to Low Beach. And I got about halfway down there and I got stuck between cars to my left, cars to my right, and just sat for 22 minutes before I moved 1 foot. So
wow,
huge transportation issues, and I think that new beach access road will really help mitigate that.
Yeah.
But have anything? Oh, the signs on the highway seem to
That's what I heard.
work
Heard
pretty
maybe
well.
you did had
I
a
think we
few
wrote
less.
7 citations the first 3 days or 4 days, but when I went back and looked at those, 4 of them were actually south of Access Road 1.
Right.
So where the
Yeah.
signs were, we only wrote
Right.
three citations in 3 days. So that seemed to, and I haven't looked at the final numbers, but I can tell you they're down
A lot.
bigly from
Big-
previous years.
Well, we'll look forward to that one next.
All right.
All those
Yeah.
signs work.
All right. Thanks, Chief. Thanks for all your hard work last week. I know it was a little eventful. All right. So we're down to item 8, which is city council comments and items for future consideration. Anybody have anything? All right, hearing none. We're adjourned.